Natural selection has made us who we are, a species that's extraordinarily well adapted to the environment that we live in. Then we began to rapidly change our environment faster than we can adapt to it. Now our natural abilities no longer make us fit to live in the world we've created. Biologists call this the environmental mismatch hypothesis. In a new paper that just appeared, a group has collected the evidence that this is actually true. Let's have a look. Natural selection works by small changes in genetic codes. The changes that result in better chances of reproduction are more likely to pass on to the next generation. Over many generations, a species therefore becomes good at reproducing, and so it becomes more numerous. And it does so by finding better ways to use nature for its purposes. We still adapt to our environment, but this genetic adaptation takes many generations to have noticeable effects. For example, that most Europeans can digest cow milk goes back to a genetic mutation that happened only about 10,000 years ago. Blue eyes, too, likely go back to a mutation that happened only 10 to 15,000 years ago, and light skin color about 5,000 years. Both are believed to aid the body to absorb sunlight. Parts of the African population have developed immunity to malaria, and some populations have genetically adapted to living at high altitudes. But it takes thousands of years for such mutations to spread to a significant part of the population. The problem is now that we are changing our environment much faster than we can possibly adapt to it, and we've changed it dramatically. Big parts of the world population now live in cities. We're surrounded by concrete rather than vegetation. The nights are no longer dark. The days are no longer quiet. The air carries all kinds of pollutants, from car exhaust to nanoscopic plastic particles. And our ways of living today are entirely unnatural if you compare them with what our bodies evolved to do. Humans evolved to hunt and gather, not sit at a desk 10 hours a day, except for the breaks to doom scroll on the toilet. We evolved to chew and digest natural food, not heavily processed goo that contains God knows what. Women, the ones with uteruses, evolved to have babies, not to impress other women on Instagram. Our brains don't know how to deal with networks that connect millions of people. Mine barely copes with group chats. So on the one hand, the environmental mismatch hypothesis sounds all too plausible. On the other hand, the plausible hypotheses are the ones we should be most skeptical of. In this case, it's because humans don't just adapt genetically. We also adapt epigenetically, or just socially. For example, you could interpret the trend to working from home and more flexible working hours as a social adaptation that aligns us better with our environment. The authors of the new paper now collect the existing evidence across several areas. The first evidence is a decline in reproductive capability, especially in men. Multiple large studies have found declines in sperm count and sperm quality since the mid-20th century. These trends are statistically robust and have been reported by independent research groups. A second line of evidence is a decline in immune function. People in highly industrialized environments show higher rates of allergies, autoimmune conditions, and chronic inflammatory diseases. The third area is stress and brain function. Laboratory and field studies consistently show that urban environments increase physiological stress markers compared to natural settings. Chronic activation of stress responses is known to suppress reproductive hormones, impair immune responses, and affect cognition. These links are well established in physiology and neuroscience. The authors conclude that a growing body of empirical evidence suggests that environmental industrialization negatively impacts human biology, suppressing key biological functions essential for survival, reproduction, and therefore evolutionary fitness. I find this an interesting summary because a lot of people are concerned about the falling reproduction rate in the developed world, but we hear far less about the overarching problem of genetic maladaptation that affects our physical and mental health. I think the evidence is quite convincing, but what does it mean? It's not that humans are doomed, that modern life is inherently bad, or that we need to go back to the good old days when women popped out a baby each year, whether they wanted to or not. It's just that we aren't paying enough attention to our physical limits. We either have to restructure modern life so that it's better aligned with human well-being, or we find a way to speed up human adaptation by genetic engineering until we're finally able to win a fight against Excel sheets. Well, at least one of these problems is fixable, which is that our brains expect darkness to go into sleep mode. Luckily, a good sleep mask can fix this. And I've recently found the best sleep mask ever, which comes from Mantis Sleep, who've been sponsoring this video. Their sleep masks have these eye parts that block out all light completely. You can adjust them so that they fit your size perfectly. The mask is super soft and comfortable, and it safely stays in place. It's really improved my sleep quality so much. I've never been able to sleep during the day, but with this mask, I've even managed to take a nap in the afternoon. Okay, I may just be getting old, but I prefer to believe that napping is good for you. Manta Sleep also has a mask that comes with Bluetooth speakers. I like to put on an hour of birds in the forest for maximal relaxation. And of course, I have a special offer for you. If you use my code Sabine10, you'll get 10% off. Links in the info below, so check this out and sleep well. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.